Fatally shooting 3 people and wounding a 4th on the south side are being held without bond tonight.
Now, one of the victims who was killed was an armored car guard. Prosecutors say the other 2 who were killed were actually accomplices in that armored car heist. Dana Rebick was in court today and joins us now with new information.
Well, this is a very complex case, and it's really the brave actions of witnesses who helped identify these men and alert police to their exact location that helped solve this case so quickly. The judge today saying he felt there was clear and compelling evidence to charge them. A crime spree spanning multiple scenes that Cook County Circuit Court Judge Charles Beach said today was like something out of a movie.
Listen, man, this judge is a Chicago judge, a Cook County judge. This isn't like something out of a movie. This is something that happens every day. This is something out of the Chicago Sun-Times, the Chicago newspaper, the Chicago news station. This is something that happens all the time. This is something that happens in some Blackistanian province every day. It's something out of a movie. Well, the details are very interesting. I'll give him that. The twists and turns. But the violence in general, the end result, the carnage at the end of the day when we tally up the bodies and the victims and the lives affected, this is every city, every day in the stand.
A crime spree spanning multiple scenes that Cook County Circuit Court Judge Charles Beach said today was like something out of a movie. 19-year-old Antoine Montgomery and 20-year-old DeAndre Jennings are charged with first-degree and attempted murder and armed robbery. Chicago police say the pair shot 2 armored car guards, one of them 47-year-old LaShonda Hartz, and then allegedly killed their own accomplices a short time later.
Well, it wouldn't be a shooting if a sister didn't get hit. At least one sister. Unfortunately, she got killed. But this is every shooting in the stand. Every mass shooting, multiple victim incident, a sister's in there somewhere. These guys, 19 and 20-year-old guys trying to knock off a Brinks truck. They were out of their depths. They were, sometimes you got to stick to carjackings and street robberies. And I know that's gateway and it leads to bigger stuff, but these 2 gentlemen are going to spend at least 2 or 3 years behind bars in Cook County, thanks to Kim Foxx. No, seriously though, I think she will prosecute this case. So these guys may spend the rest of their natural lives in jail or in a prison somewhere. Definitely in a prison somewhere, because they're going to prison. And I'm just saying, man, like, it's so many guys like this. Like, just because these guys did that this day, some more guys will do this tomorrow. And this is every city. And the narrative across the country is that people who look like this, Sun men, are the biggest victims of the century. And we all have to come together and do things to, undo the inequities and the disparities that are holding them back. Wow.
a short time later. In court this afternoon, the state's attorney said Jennings and Montgomery met that morning around 9 o'clock at a home in the 8700 block of South Saginaw to plot, saying they, quote, had a lick lined up to hit an ATM and would get a lot of cash.
Wow, cops know a lot. How do you think they know so much? I mean, the other two guys are dead. The two accomplices are dead. These guys are singing like birds. These guys are singing like the Supremes, man. These guys singing like Aaron Hall. I like. From the first time I saw your face, girl, I knew I had to have you. These dudes is singing. And at this, I don't know how it helps them though. I mean, I think they're too deep. I know this for a fact. There's certain things where you can't help yourself. Who you snitching on? The other guy? It don't matter now. They in too deep.
This afternoon, the state's attorney said Jennings and Montgomery met that morning around 9 o'clock at a home in the 8700 block of South Saginaw to plot, saying they, quote, had a lick lined up to hit an ATM and would get a lot of cash. Around 10:30, the pair headed to the Bank of America at 250 West 83rd Street and saw a Garda armored truck pull in. LaShonda Hartz and two male co-workers ages 46 and 51 got out, emptying ATM containers and refilling them with between $50,000 to $80,000. Police say Antoine Montgomery jumped out and tried to grab that container, and a struggle ensued. Police say Antoine Montgomery jumped out and tried to grab that container, and a struggle ensued. Montgomery, Jennings, and a third offender got out of a stolen Lincoln Town car and began firing at the guards. Hartz was shot 3 times and later died at the University of Chicago Medical Center. The male guard was shot once in the stomach and was taken to the hospital in critical condition, but was later released. The encounter was caught on bank surveillance video, capturing the masked offenders and what they were wearing. About a half hour later, police say Jennings and Montgomery were seen on surveillance video entering a strip mall in the 6700 block of South Stony Island and robbing a Boost Mobile store, getting away with a bag of cell phones. Court documents show then, before 11:30, the men met back up with their accomplices, 21-year-old Naquan Harper and 27-year-old George Holmes. A witness back in the 8700 block of South Saginaw, where the offenders began plotting their crime spree that morning, heard gunshots and then saw an Infiniti SUV crash into a tree. Police say Montgomery and Jennings then ran into a home. A SWAT team was called in and arrested the two. Investigators found stolen cell phones in the Infiniti from that Boost Mobile store. In the home, they recovered 5 guns and clothing, shoes, and a mask matching what witnesses say the men were wearing at the ATM shooting.
And y'all don't want no police around? Man, I wouldn't care if they killed 1,000 George Floyds. Keep the police where I'm at. I wouldn't care if they killed 1,000 George Floyds, 2,000 Rashard Brookses, and shot up 5,000 Jacob Blakes. That's their business, man. What about your grandmother? What about your aunties? You don't want the police around for them? Like, jeez.
Court documents show then, before 11:30, the men met back up with their accomplices, 21-year-old Naquan Harper and 27-year-old George Holmes. A witness back in the 8700 block of South Saginaw, where the offenders began plotting their crime spree that morning, heard gunshots and then saw an Infiniti SUV crash into a tree. Police say Montgomery and Jennings then ran into a home. A SWAT team was called in and arrested the two. Investigators found stolen cell phones in the Infinity from that Boost Mobile store. In the home, they recovered 5 guns and clothing, shoes, and a mask, matching what witnesses say the men were wearing at the ATM shooting. Those items testing positive for gunshot residue and one of the guns matching shell casings found at the bank scene. Now, both men charged do have extensive criminal records. DeAndre.
Who's shocked by that? Hit one if you're shocked by that. Both men have extensive criminal records at 20. So the guy who did this, the woman's family and the other, well, really only the woman's family is a victim. The other 2 guys were in on it. But the woman's family, this is what criminal justice reform looks like. This is what we can't arrest ourselves out of this mess. We're not going to arrest ourselves out of this crime problem. Looks like. This is what Sunman victimhood looks like. This kid's 20. It's 2021. Let me do my math. 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014. That's 7. So 13 years old, he caught a domestic battery charge. They be introducing our young people into the system, and we don't get no breaks. When our kids go into the system, they just throw them away. It's a school to prison pipeline. They use marijuana charges, minor marijuana offenses to get our kids in the system. And once they in the system, they just swallow them up and don't let them out. How many of y'all been hearing that for years? And I've been telling y'all, this probably ain't even this whole record. This is probably the highlights. I guarantee you these are the highlights. I guarantee you it's at least 10 other arrests or charges on here. But these are the highlights. These are like the, it's like a game. They're going to show you Michael Jordan stealing the ball and going for a dunk. And they might show you him come hit a jumper later on in the game. And that's all you going to see on Sports Center. The final score of the game was 134 to 128. And you got to see them 2 plays. I tell you guys, man, I've been telling you guys, I've been the one beating this drum. The criminal justice system is not racist. And when I say it's not racist, I mean it's so not racist. In fact, it's the opposite. It's easier for some men. A glider with this record, man, a glider would have been in jail, man. He wouldn't even been able to do this. They just released these sonmen, and the reason is, of course, is because the DAs in those glider areas don't play. The glider DAs, they don't play. That's why crime is low out there. That's one reason why crime is low. One reason. One of many reasons. Some hardware issues too, but one of many reasons. Them DAs in these areas, man, I'm telling you, it's probably 10 to 15 more charges and arrests on his record. And this guy was walking the streets.
And Antoine Montgomery was currently on parole after serving 18 months for a 2020 aggravated unlawful use of a weapon conviction. As a juvenile, he was convicted of armed robberies in 2018 and 2019.
So this guy, he's 19. Even though he looked, God, dog. His brother looked like he's 46, but all right, he's 19. He got a record like a 46-year-old, but look, convicted. You got to understand. They're not saying, oh, he was charged and the charges were dropped or they had setting him up. He ain't do nothing. They always trying to make a brother look always trying to make a brother look, but stereotypes. It's stereotypes. He was convicted of armed robberies in 2018 and 2019. So that means he did a bunch that he didn't get caught for. So in over these years he got caught. This is third time. This is third time. And then think about it. He just did 18 months in jail. So from 2018 to now, with spending a year and a half off the streets, he's done all this. He's been caught for all this. And y'all gliders be letting people just unchecked. The system is racist. It need to be changed. It needs to be easier. It needs to be more lenient than it is now. Oh, wow.
And Antoine Montgomery was currently on parole after serving 18 months for a 2020 aggravated unlawful use of a weapon conviction. As a juvenile, he was convicted of armed robberies in 2018 and 2019. Now, what detectives still don't know at this point is a motive for why these men would have allegedly turned guns on their own cohorts. Now, they will be back in court coming up, the next hearing on December 6th.
Hopefully those answers come at some point. Thank you so much, Dana Rebick.
Yep.
A last-minute reprieve for a man on death.
Already tough for some local businesses to survive during these times. Now, a Norfolk car wash could go under after someone broke in and stole vital equipment. It's all caught on camera. On a story you'll see only on 10, Aisha Tolliver talked with the owner.
The Solar Wash car wash here off Virginia Beach Boulevard is all taped up after back-to-back burglaries that's left the owner just completely heartbroken and asking the community for help. Solar Wash off Virginia Beach Boulevard has been operating since the 80s. It's normally a pretty busy spot, but as of late last week, there hasn't been many customers. And the reason is all caught on surveillance camera.
All the moves she made that night, both nights.
Thursday night, a thief broke into all but one of the wash stalls and busted open the self-pay machines.
He have a crowbar, he go under and be able to buckle all the pay stations or the stalls. And he got the cash out of there.
The owner, Gus Angelopoulos, reported it to police, but says they only took a report over the phone that night. Then, to his surprise, the thief came back for more the next night. This time, breaking into that last wash stall and yanking 2 vacuums off the stands. The suspect also tried to break into the mechanical room before the alarm went off.
Nothing was bust. It was real bad. I can't even.
So you telling me that this brother who been here for 400 years gotta come and steal and destroy from this man who sound like he been here for about maybe 20 years tops, 10, 20 years? And this dude sound like he from Greece. His name sound like he from Greece. They ruled the world at one time. I'm talking about from sea to shining sea. And you'll never hear a Greek person refer to themselves as a king. You'll never hear it. Or refer to each other, what's up, king? But this joker, I guarantee you, if you hung around him for the whole day, you'd hear somebody call him king at least 2 or 3 times. What's up, king? We live in a bizarre world, man.
Back for more the next night. This time, breaking into that last wash stall and yanking 2 vacuums off the stands. The suspect also tried to break into the mechanical room before the alarm went off.
Nothing was bust real bad. I can't even open it.
There was so much damage, firefighters had to open the door the next morning and clean up the live wires left behind from yanking out the vacuums. Angelopoulos says this is a big setback, especially when the parts they need to get back up and running are expected to take about 6 months to come in.
I never knew anybody can come do some kind of damage for a few dollars, you know?
Oh, man. I feel bad for you. You guys are not sharing these videos, man. How did this guy not know that the sun would shine on his small business one day and do so much damage for a couple of bucks? I fault you guys for not sharing these videos, man. How many cases of the people crying out saying, look, I didn't know. You guys know. You keep it a secret.
Come in.
I never knew anybody can come do some kind of damage for a few dollars, you know, and do $20,000, $30,000 damage.
The incidents have forced him to shut down all but one automatic wash stall. On the upside, some customers still come by to use the last few vacuums still working, but the fear isn't over for the owner. They also own the Solar Wash in Chesapeake and are worried it'll be targeted next if the suspect isn't stopped. Angelopoulos is now offering a $1,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest, and Norfolk police are investigating. So if you know anything, please contact them. In Norfolk, I'm Aisha Tolbert, and on your side.